I see a golden opportunity for a new component here. Don't you? Just like we did in React Robats. If we're looping over our data and spitting out a bunch of something, that something should probably almost always be a component. So this thing seems like it deserves to be its own component for a single message. So let's make it. New component, we'll just call it capital N message.js. I'm going to make it stateless functional. It's going to be a really simple one. Import React from React. Const message equals arrow function. Export default message. And what do I want in there? I basically want this. So let's make a div with a class of message like I always do. So return div with a class of message. And I'll just put in there, I want to spell this out here, message.username, message.body. The idea being that back in message list, we could import this. Import message from /message. And then instead of this big long div, I can just return message. Now I still need a key. It's still going to complain. So I'll say key equals msg.id. Now I'm going to get a problem. Message is not defined on line 6 of message.js. So this component doesn't know anything about the message, right? So how can it find out? How do we get data from outside a prop into a prop? I'm sorry, did I just say prop? Like an idiot. How do we get data into a component from outside that component? Yes, we use props. So if I wanted to pass in a prop, it looks like I'm expecting something called message. So in message list, I'll just pass along a prop called message. And it should just be MSG. Right? The current thing out of the array. If I want to make this a tiny bit easier to remove, to read, I mean, I could put parentheses around it, put it on the next line. I still don't need the word return or the curly braces because this parentheses means I still effectively have a one-line function. So that makes this nice and readable. Message list just loops over messages and spits out a message for each one. Now inside here, I need to access these through props, which ordinarily is this.props, right? A stateless functional component, we don't have this.props. So you may remember we said yesterday that if you think of components as functions, your props are basically arguments. Well, our component is literally a function, and our props are literally an argument. So the props object is being passed in as an argument to our function now, automatically. That's the JavaScript that this gets turned into. It calls that thing and it passes in these things as a props object. Which means, how do I use them here? Props dot, right? Not this dot props, just props dot message dot username and props dot message dot body. Lo and behold. Looks the same, no warnings, everything works. And the nice thing is, this message component is nice and simple, and if I want to change the way that a single message looks or works, or how much detail it includes, I know right where to go, and I don't have to sift through 50 lines of code to find what I need to change. It's right there. It's 3 lines long. Piece of cake. So add a message component that receives a prop. Mad props, in fact.
Would you like to message list for just a second?
Sure.